Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning in. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of Yer Blues that they did in August of 1968. It was the 13th song that John Lennon wrote while in India in 1968, studying transcendental meditation with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi Bear.
Hey, boo-boo.
And although his marriage was on the rocks and he was there with his wife, Cynthia, he was really thinking about Yoko Ono at the time and actually feeling suicidal. And about writing the song, John has said, "The funny thing about the camp was that although it was very beautiful and I was meditating about 8 hours a day, I was writing the most miserable songs on earth. In Yer Blues, when I wrote, 'I'm so lonely I want to die,' I'm not kidding. That's how I felt." In May of 68, they actually demoed the song at George Harrison's house, and Paul wanted the song to be called Yer Blues. But in August 13th, they're at EMI, and they all set up in a small control room annex that was called Room 2A. And it was only 8 feet by 8 feet and adjacent to the control room of Studio 2, where the 4-track machines were kept, with no separation and no acoustic treatment at all. They did 14 takes, with the instrumentation being Paul on Fender jazz bass, Ringo on drums, John playing his Epiphone Casino, George playing a Les Paul, and John doing a guide vocal. And because of no isolation, you actually could hear George's original solo underneath his overdubbed solo on the record. There were a number of tape splices to get the final master, and they were actually splicing the original 4-track tape. They used take 5 for the first 2 verses. Then they used take 6 up to the guitar solos. For the guitar solos, they went back to take 5. And then for the fade out, they used the beginning of take 5 for the fade out. August 14th, they did overdubs. John and Paul did the vocals. Ringo added some extra snare drum, and George redid his guitar solo over his original solo. And they did a mono mix of it that night. A month later, on October 14th, Ken Scott and John Smith did a stereo mix, and they added an oscillator to get kind of that wobbly guitar effect that you hear on the record. And they also mixed it that day with a slap back on John's voice. The Beatles never played it live, but John Lennon did play it live 2 times at the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus and at the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival Festival. And Yer Blues was released in November of 1968 on the Beatles' White Album. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John Lennon is playing his Epiphone Casino on Yer Blues. I've got mine going through a 1967 Fender Deluxe Reverb. The song is kind of wackadoodle. There's a lot of parts. It's basically in 6/8, but sometimes he feels it in a triplet feel. Sometimes he feels it in a straight 8 feel. And it changes to 4/4 or 8/8, depending on how you want to count it. And there's many, many feel changes. And since it was just done live, a lot of little idiosyncrasies in the song. Basically, though, the song is in the key of E, and his main lick is just a B and a D over that to get like an E7 sound. So sometimes you hear the open E, sometimes you hear, but don't get too hung up and don't play too much that open E, because he's either muting it here or his string is really dead. But mainly you hear the B and the D sound. And since it's in 6/8, that starts on the 3rd beat. So you count 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. 1, 2. And that's pretty much the first and second verse. Coming out of that, he plays a little line like this. Very slowly. And there's a little walk down. It's basically just triads from a B to an A to a, we'll call it a G sharp minor, G minor, and F sharp minor. So, and then on the way out, it would be first time. Exactly the same for verse 2, except on the 8th measure, he plays that line on the 4th beat instead of the 3rd beat. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Charts and tabs will make this much clearer than I can say it or play it, but we'll try to get through it. And then at the end of the second verse, that little last line is a little different. It's Very slowly on the way out. So here's verse 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Then comes the first break. So first he plays like, power E. And then he's playing like, it's almost like A sixth. Picks it up, you hear the open strings to an E chord. So it's like. Like that. And then back to the 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Those are on 5, on beat 5. Coming out, and out of that, again to the same. And he plays the ending in like he did the second ending. So here's the whole first break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, break 2, same kind of thing. I'm kind of hitting the kind of top 3 strings, picking them up, and then kind of upstroking the E chord. So, all right. Then he doesn't play on this measure. That's where George is, which we'll get to later. Coming back to 1, 2, 1, 2. Now here, he either makes a mistake or he purposely went up a half step. He goes on that measure. And then back to. And a little different on the ending here. This time it's. All right. And then we are to. Third break is like this. You hear him play a little G note there. He plays the E thing and he goes, he lands his finger on a G. And then back to just kind of like A's to E's. And then the field change. And on the field change, again, you could think of it in 8/8, but I like to just feel it in 4 now to chord note triplets on an E7. Now here is a combination of a triplet feel and a straight 8s. The first 2, it's like bum ba boo doo. So like the first and the third note of a triplet to a straight 8th. So easier to play it, probably let you hear it like see, that's like dun da dun dun. So it's not 1 and 2 and it's bum ba boom bum. Measure, that's all triplets feel. A D to a B7. And this is where his solo starts. Now on the solo, it's just 8th note triplets. but the open strings are on the downbeat starting on beat 3. So in order for that to happen, first he plays an open, and he plays two G and Ds. I just played it for you, so it's 3, 4. Then he's switching to kind of like an A7 form. Then it gets weird. He bends the second fret, yeah. So like on that A7 form, he's bending that up to the C sharp up to the D. And he plays. Then he goes to the D and the G and bends that D up and plays. Let's see if I could just do the whole solo for you. 2, 3, 4. That's what he does. And then comes on George's solo, he plays a simple, that little first beat is like a triplet fill, second beat is kind of like a half note fill, back to triplet fill. Playing it for you is easier. During George's solo, he plays. Tape splice, and we're back to the very beginning, you know. For the fade out. Charts and tabs will make it easier than I can say it or play it, but that's John's part on Yer Blues. George Harrison's playing his Les Paul on Yer Blues. I've got mine still going through that deluxe reverb, but a little Zen drive on it so the guitar breaks up without it being too loud. So basically, it's in the key of E, and his notes, his main notes are just an E, an A, and a G. But he bends the G to the A, 10th fret of the A string. But he doesn't always get it perfectly in tune. So don't worry if you don't get it perfectly in tune. Just bend it to it so it feels soulful to you. But basically, if he bends up once, he starts the bend on beat 5, and if he bends up twice, bend, release, bend, he starts that on beat 4. And so those sound like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, then on measure 5, he starts playing a little B to an E on the D and G string. A little pick up into it. So it's 1, 2. All right, now on this next part, he's up on the 12th fret and he plays on the D string and the G string and bends the A string. And then on the lick down, he just plays on the G string and then ends it. And the only difference is on the second verse on measure, what would it be, 5, he goes down to the E. He doesn't bend all the way up. So I'll play you the first two verses. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're at the first break. In the first break, he plays like this. He plays an E. So he's getting both that D to E, but the second time he's bending it. So again, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then two weird bends on the 11th fret of the B string and the 8th fret. So then back to and then Now he plays a G note before he hits that 12th fret. He goes And this time on the way down he plays on the first and second string for the first two parts, but he doesn't play. He catches up. He goes 1. So 1, and then second break on those hits. He does something very cool. He plays this. He plays on the 11th fret of the D string and the 12th fret of the high E string. So it's takes my eye. It's almost like he was thinking about maybe an A9, but he just plays those two notes. So, and then kind of a rock and roll 8th note triplet thing, right? Same thing here. Oops. And this time he catches up again and just plays the last 4 parts of it. Like that. Da, 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 da. So let's see. Let me do you break 2, I think, in continuity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on break 3, he just, on the hits, he just plays on the 12th fret, first and second string. So it's now the field change to 4/4, and on 4/4 he plays some licks, and they're not the smoothest licks, I gotta say, but this is what he plays. He plays 3, 4. That's what he does there. Then there's John's solo, which you really don't hear anything of George until it comes time for George's solo. Now for George's solo, it's imperative that you get the rhythm right. And it starts on the last part of a triplet on beat 4, the measure before the solo starts. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-dun-dun-dun, ba-da-da-da-da-dun-dun-dun. Bum, bum, bum. Easier if I play it. I'll do it kind of slow. 1, 2, 3. me do that for you very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, there's a tape splice, so you're back to the beginning. And those are all the parts you need to play, just like George Harrison on Yer Blues. Well, I have put it together in a sound alike so you can see exactly how the parts fit together, so please have a look at this. 2, 3. Yes, I'm lonely. Wanna die. Yes, I'm lonely. Well, now you see how all those parts fit together. I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com, learn both parts, play along with my sound alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I really appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. And if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel because it moves me up in the YouTube cube. So have fun playing this great old song because that's what playing the guitar should be all about. I'm Mike Pachelli, and until next time, thanks for hanging out with me.